Welcome, everyone. Hello, welcome, everyone. Great to see you.
Hi, guys.
So I think we are, about to start. It's 12 o'clock, almost 12 o'clock 1. So welcome to a new edition of aiLights. Today it's already our 12th session, I found out yesterday. And during the last 3 months, we have touched a lot of topics around AI, like agentic AI, model customization, AI automation, sovereign infrastructure, and so on. But we never touched, now somebody is calling from somewhere else in another tab. I have to close that, sorry. It was a nice tone here just on my phone here, sorry. But so far we haven't talked about the finance field, and so let's change that today. And to get help on that, we have 2 guests here in the session today. Let's welcome Sasi Reddy from Fintos and Robert Paulak from Senacor Technologies. Great to have you here, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello,
everyone.
Hi, Sasi. Hi. So I'm happy to share some background information about our today's guest. So Sasi is the CEO and founder of Fintos. It's an agentic AI platform for family offices. And he holds a Master of Science in Business and Management and a Bachelor in Technology in Civil Engineering, if I'm not wrong. Yes. And before Sasi founded his startup Fintos, he worked in different positions in business and sales development. And Sasi, I must share this. I found it yesterday, and I read somewhere from a former colleague of you that you have the ability to brighten the spirit of any team. So looking forward to a very special spirit today, and thanks for joining.
Oh, thanks.
Our second guest. Yeah, so he was very, very cute, what I read yesterday. So our second guest is Robert Paulak. He is a senior management consultant at Senacor, and he is also co-founder of Ratify, PickMe, and Doctado. And Robert, I was asking myself yesterday if you ever find sleep. So let's see in your face. Let's have a quick look in your face. But I think some hours left for sleep. So Robert holds a Master of Science in Engineering in Technical Management, IT and Telecommunications, and an Executive MBA in Entrepreneurship and Innovation. So I think a very stable base for today. Some notes before we start. This session is being streamed live on YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you don't want your neighbor to see you on YouTube, you better turn off your camera now. And if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. We will try to do our best to answer them during the session or after the 2 presentations in the Q&A. So we are all here to learn more about AI's new role in finance. Let's dive into it. Sasi and Reddy, the floor is yours.
All right, then I would start. Thank you, Sabine. So I will give a quick intro about Senacor, what we're doing, what our role is regarding finance. If you have any questions in between, just raise your hand, type in the chat, or just interrupt me. I'm fine with that. Other than that, you can also scan the QR code, find me on LinkedIn, and we can discuss any other questions later on as well. All right. So what's on the plan or the schedule today? As I said, I will give a short intro about Senacor, how we look at the current AI. Well, it's still a hype, I would say, and what challenges we see in real life, especially in the financial industry, because it's never a green field. And then, depending on how much time we have left, a little deep dive on process optimization and automation with agentic AI. So who are we? I would say we're software and AI engineering meets deep business expertise. So basically, we are in this, I would say, sweet spot between both strategy and execution and both business and tech. So there is a German term, the eierlegende Wollmilchsau. I would say we're pretty close to that. So this is also why we are mostly in kind of bridging functions in big transformation projects, etc. Because in the end, company-wise, we can do, as I said, both business tech, strategy, and execution. Who are our clients? So this is our focus on especially those that are somehow related to Switzerland. But in the end, we're mainly focused on the whole DACH region and financial services industry. So both banks, but also private equity and insurances. Right. So yeah, in the end, our DNA, I would say, is we like to do more instead of talking. And our main goal is to deliver on our promises. So this is also why you might now hear something that's not as hype as some other marketing presentations you might have heard in the past, because we try to keep it real, I would say, and keep it close to something that can actually be implemented into production. All right. So before we get into the details, I want to start with, I would say, the main takeaways. So we definitely got that clear, because to dive into any details, and that is, in the end, I know probably most of you already tried some vibe coding with Claude Code, etc. But in the end, implementing AI in a production environment is still a matter of how good you are in engineering and software engineering. So I'd say it's 90% software engineering, and then 10%, this is something you have to take care of, in particular regarding data science, regarding how to deal with this non-deterministic approach we have with LLMs and AI. But in the end, if you're not good at engineering, you will probably also fail using AI, because in the end, I would compare it to a driving license. You probably won't start with, I don't know, an 800 HP Ferrari if you never saw the road from the near, right? Then we also hear quite often, oh no, all the software developers, all the engineers will lose their job. We don't think that. We will just think that definitely it will change, the pace will change, the cost probably will change, and the roles will definitely change. But as I said, vibe coding only still could lead to something. I would say you're then kind of locked in. Because in the end, if you don't understand what your AI produce here in code, well, you're kind of lost, right? So you still have to have control over this. And then, as this is something that's in particular very relevant for this regulated industry, like financial services, how do we get to production readiness? Well, first of all, it's about governance. We kind of, like a colleague of mine said, AI in the end is kind of microservices that roll the dice, right? So into this dice rolling, you have to kind of keep managed with governance. But you still have to have this basic capabilities like data availability, process maturity, and yeah, in the end, you have the same challenges like with other software projects as well regarding data integration and such. So this actually doesn't change that much. Yeah, I said that already. 90% software engineering, 10% is this AI special. So we have similar challenges, but what definitely changed is how fast everything goes. So basically every other week we have like 5 to 10 new vendors offering something. I think the most important thing here is make yourself familiar what the implementation patterns are. So even if you have to change a vendor because the old vendor does not exist anymore, you still know what to do. Yeah, this is basically just the visual representation of what I just said. We are dealing with the same challenges we had the past decade in the end. So the microservice IT landscape that has to be integrated, and then there comes this AI or agentic capabilities, so the LLM and orchestration. So we're now you might ask, okay, this guy tells me basically nothing changed with AI agents or software that uses LLMs. Well, that's not true. Of course, we have challenges here that were very hard to tackle and address in the past with what I would call traditional digitalization tools, and that's especially unstructured input. The coordination, especially if it's not very deterministic, but has a high variability or flexibility needed. And then, of course, if you want to accelerate your software development life cycle. So that being said, I will come back to this later, but AI is not the answer to everything. But there are challenges that are really better to tackle with AI nowadays. So how do we look from Zenrocker perspective? In general, if you would take here a bank or any other enterprise, maybe you saw a visualization like this or similar already. We have the customer side, of course, the channels, so our interaction with the market. We have our core processes and operations and our support processes. And in the end, also from an AI offering side, you should keep that in mind. So you have something where you want to interact with your customer. This is what we call AI-assisted channels. You have something in your core processes, in your operations that you might want to get more efficient or effective in. This is what we call agentic AI process optimization and automation. And then, of course, is one very particular support process. I wouldn't even call it a support process in most enterprises anymore. This is IT and software development itself. And then you also have the AI leveraged information retrieval. So this is like, for example, where you can ask an internal chatbot for your intranet or wiki information, stuff like that. But in the end, this is how we look when we shape our offerings to our customers. And we will now focus on this process optimization and agentic AI part, which, as you can see, takes a lot of room here. This is just a few examples where AI can be applied. Now I'm going to start repeat myself because I outlined the main points already, but we will dive into detail now. The main thing about getting AI production ready is data availability and integration. So in the end, your AI will start to actually talk bullshit if it doesn't have access to proper data, the proper context. So this kind of context management, the information you need to give AI to really, or the agent to really perform well, is really crucial. Other than that, right, you can have the best AI agent your vendor just sold you, but if you cannot connect it to your core system, you will have a problem. So this is why we have, I would say, this view on first this enablement, which is data and platform. So what I just said, the data availability, the governance. So how can I manage those agents to not run havoc or something? And then actually the applications that I just showed you, the channels, the process optimization, the software development. So because then, right, and I think you're probably familiar if you have that in your own company. It's cool that you can talk to C-level that you introduce some AI, but does it really give you the benefit, the business value you expected? Right? And this is where I come to this topic, legacy systems and also legacy processes. So in the end, we have a very strong thesis about if you want to use AI and AI agents, that's cool. We completely support that. But you have to do your homework first. What do we mean by that? You need to have your processes already documented, managed. Ideally, you already have some kind of digitalization in your processes. And maybe you even have some kind of classic automation approaches. But in the end, starting with AI before doing anything that's here on the more left side will, in our opinion, not work. for the exact reason I just outlined, AI just needs data, context data, to really perform the way you want it to perform. So this is also why we see here kind of an evolutionary approach. Start with a digitalized microservice landscape, for example, and then work your way up to the top. So even if your ambition is, I want to have all my co-processes run by multi-agent, right? We hear that all the time. Someone run up, I don't know, 10 OpenClaw or Anthropic AI agents, and they do all the work. Well, they started somewhere, and it was not with a multi-agent framework, definitely not. So start somewhere and work your way up to the top. And in the end, this is also how you grow your platform, because if you see now the right side here, the capabilities that are needed to manage this AI platform stack, you will probably not implement all of them at once, because it will kill you from a budget side. But yeah, extend them step by step. Now to the process optimization part, I already said that AI is cool, agents are cool, but they're not the answer to anything. If you can solve your problem that you have in front of you with a rule-based deterministic automation or program, do that. Why? If you use AI, you, as we saw here, have whole another bunch of governance stuff you need to take care of. And in the end, if you think like, okay, but I'm lazy, I don't want to think about which rules I have to implement and formulate them. Yeah, of course, AI will save you time, but the governance of AI will not. So in the end, if you have something that you can tackle rule-based and it's sufficient, do that. And also here you have this evolutionary approach. You can start with that, then you can think like, okay, but this part in my process workflow, I might give to an LLM because, I don't know, I cannot formulate 1,000 different business rules. It's too much variability in the input data I get, for example. You can start with a simple LLM step and then start replacing one step after another with more LLM driven steps. And then at some point, you can start giving certain steps where the LLM does a certain task for you, more autonomy. So it can make their own decisions, can kind of make feedback loops, try different approaches until it hands over to the next step. But also here you say, basically, the more autonomous your agent is, the more control you need, because otherwise, especially in regulated industries, you will have a problem. First of all, because the regulator is going to ask you, why did the agent do that? So there is always the question of why did it happen? So you have to have this observability and logging. And then second, you always have to also prove that at any point in this process, you would be able to intervene, it's human in the loop, etc., in case things do not go the way they should go. Here is just a sample, like we promised about financial services. Here is an example how a future credit process, for example, here could look like. So in the end, you would probably get some information, some documents about your applicant who wants a loan via email inbox. Well, it's uploaded in some document management system or something. And then here is where LLMs or AI agents can really bring a value that was not possible to leverage in the past. Why? Because documents you receive from a client or anyone are mostly not structured. Those are PDFs, they're scanned, they're like maybe just free text, but they all contain information you want to get into your systems, but in a structured way. And this, I would say, translation from unstructured input to structured input, this is something that AI is really good at, and it can help you. But also here, you have now your structured input, and then also a very chronological and deterministic process afterwards. So you just have this very small portion that's really autonomous and agentic driven. And then again, the classic process, where, for example, also your human in the loop can check if the AI really extracted the correct data. Another thing here, you can start with the first use case, but try to think about scalability. What do I mean by that? Try to apply patterns, for example, here, document classification or intent classification or attribute or information extraction that you can reuse for other use cases, because you don't want to actually build the same pattern over and over again. You want to have I would say a kind of a semi-generic pattern and just adapt the prompt in this pattern a little bit to another use case. But yeah, the main thing is you have to implement reusable patterns that already worked, so that you can scale it in production. So now I would say lessons learned, and then I'm actually over with the main presentation. I already said that you have to have actually a documented process design with separated steps already in place. You should have, we call it traffic light logic, like, how confident is AI that it did the correct thing? And if it's yellow or red, a human has to check it. This is a human in the loop. You need to, if you want to scale it in production, have this platform approach. So reusability of your patterns are important, because we're in a regulated industry, the transparency of the AI behavior, right? So this is this observability via logs, etc. The hybrid approach, this is what I meant by you have from our observation, never the situation where an AI agent or several AI agents do autonomously whatever they want to do. It's always a very defined scope where the AI can do their stuff, right? But after that, you have a deterministic process again. Then, the evaluation process with ground truth. This means try to check at least for a certain period of time the original process and the AI-driven process, and if the outcomes, the results are the same. So you can basically measure if your whatever fine-tuned model or your prompts are working the way they should and bring in the correct results. And then, as I already said, nevertheless, start using AI now, because in the end, even if it doesn't work from the beginning, you should start now, because this is the only way you can get yourself familiar with how this stuff in the end works with your data, right? So it's always already also this thing, laboratory environment and what's going on with production data. Then already said that integration effort is actually more than 50%. So if you don't have data availability, this is what will basically blow up your budget, and not that you already have your proof of concept chatbot or whatever, because this is what you can ramp up pretty fast, especially if you use like homogeneous platforms like Azure or the AWS or Google. But in the end, think about this data availability part. Thank you. And as I said, questions are welcomed, and otherwise you can also contact me via email or LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Robert. So I can't see any questions so far. Maybe they will come up later. Then we go over to Sasi.
Thank you, Sabine. Great presentation, Robert. We're also going to stress down the same topics on what you mentioned regarding where to implement AI strategically in the financial landscape and the governance and the human in the loop. It's the one that we've been also hearing from our pilots everywhere that we are speaking with. So to kick things off, I'm the founder and CEO of Fintos. We're an agentic AI operating system for family offices. We're in the market since late last year, and we're piloting with active clients in Switzerland, US, Qatar, and Dubai at the moment. And I'm gonna present a unique use case that we're seeing how agentic AI can be deployed safely and practically in the family office deal flow, not a theory, a real workflow, a result from a pilot that we're doing with the Swiss family office. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn or reach out to me by email if you want to have a conversation around it. Here's what we'll cover in the next 15 minutes. 5 topics, each one building on the last, from how deals get classified to how risk gets flagged, how scoring works transparently, and how humans stay in the loop, and ultimately how all of this reduces decision latency without losing control. And let's start with the problem. A typical family office CIO managing a diversified portfolio in public equities, private markets, real estate, alternatives faces a very specific operational problem. They're reviewing 80 to 100 inbound deals a week. They're spending 40 plus hours a month on manual data consolidation across 3 to 5 fragmented tools. And here's the thing, less than 10% of those deals actually fit their investment thesis. One CIO told us directly, oh, we spend more time sorting deals than evaluating them. That's the gap we're addressing. So all of the CIOs in the family office that we're speaking with are facing a similar problem. And Fintos is the agentic AI operating system for family offices. 6 core modules that we offer to our clients right now: unified portfolio dashboard, AI-driven insights, deal flow intelligence, document intelligence, a conversational AI layer we call as Ask Fintos or Fintos AI, and governance and compliance built from day one. Today, we're going to go deep on one module, which is the deal flow intelligence, and I can quickly show you how it works. Deals come in from everywhere: email attachments, broker memos, term sheets, network referrals, co investment notices. It's a chaos. Most offices manage this in email threads and shared folders, Slack, Teams, regarding their communication channels. What Fintos does is automatically ingest this into a platform, parse and classify every inbound opportunity. Each deal gets tagged by asset class, geography, deal stage, investment thesis, and the priority level. We give them as a must review, consider, or pass. This means your CIO opens the platform in the morning and sees a prioritized pipeline, not just an inbox. The AI has already done the first 80% of the sorting work: which segment it's coming in from, which industry, which asset class it is from. And risk flagging. But classification alone isn't enough. Every deal needs to be evaluated in the context of the existing portfolio. So we built automated risk flagging. The system checks for concentrated risk. Are you overexposed in a single sector, jurisdiction, conflicts, or does this deal create any regulatory issues, valuation outliers, liquidity mismatches, and thesis drift? Is this deal actually aligned with your stated mandate? On the right, you can see private equity, which is more exposed. Are you overexposed in this sector? This runs in real time. So when a new PE deal comes in, the system already knows you're 35% at private equity and flags the concentration risk before a human even looks at it. How we do this. Now the scoring. This is where the trust get built or lost with the institutional clients. So we made every score fully transparent and customizable. 5 weighted dimensions: thesis alignment at 30%, financial metrics at 25%, risk assessment at 20%, strategic value at 15%, and operational quality at 10%. These weights are defaults, but every family office can adjust them to match their own investment philosophy. On the right, you can see a sample deal scoring 87 out of 100. It's flagged as a must review. But more importantly, you can see exactly why. The thesis is at 92 to 100 92 out of 100. Risk is moderate at 78. So there are no black boxes. Every score is auditable. Human in the loop. This is what Robert also earlier touched on. We're also seeing in the investment, because people in the financial industry, it is still early in deployment. Testing and piloting is one thing, but production ready is where we need human in the loop. And this is the key part for everyone. Governance is what everyone is talking about, and this is the most important slide in the deck. AI is augmenting. It augments their workflow and deal flow analysis, but it never replaces the investment committee. The decision falls upon the investment committee at the end. Here's the workflow. AI does the initial screening, classifies scores, flags risk. An analyst validates the score and adds the qualitative context to verify what AI prepared for the decision maker. The investment committee reviews the top candidates, and then a human makes the decision, approve, reject, or maybe sending it to a deeper due diligence as an investor due diligence of in this space, any new deal comes in. And underneath this workflow, three non-negotiable principles: full audit trail on every decision and override, role-based access, so principal, CIO, analyst, and advisor each can see what they should, and deterministic rules for compliance with while AI handles the intelligence layer. So these are the key things that we're also seeing a good traction from our clients. And I'm going to present a short overview on the key pilot results that we have. Um, when we deployed this is what happened. We run a 30-day pilot with a Swiss-based family office managing a diverse portfolio across multiple jurisdictions. Results are like this: 20 plus hours per month saved on manual data consolidation, three separate tools consolidated into one platform. Deal screening time went from hours per opportunity to minutes, and the AI generated insights were actively used in the investment committee decisions, not just a nice to have, but directly informing the decisions. Like I said earlier, beyond Switzerland, we're actively running pilots across the US, Dubai, and Qatar with a combined pipeline of $11 billion AUM. So we're handling lots of transactions and multiple geography portfolios and multiple assets. And deterministic versus AI. One principle we learned building Fintos is this: not everything should be AI, as Robert was also saying, like, oh, everything now you hear is like AI agents, agentic AI, automated AI, this AI, that. So the right architecture uses deterministic workflows where you need absolute reliability, compliance enforcement, concentration limits, RB, role-based access controls, audit trails, and it uses AI where pattern recognition and intelligence add value, document analysis, thesis scoring, natural language queries, risk alert generation. This hybrid approach is what makes the system production ready for regulated environments. When you consider finance, health, where sensitive data is handled by enterprises like us or startups like us, we need to provide a clear validation on overview of like where we're using AI and where we're using the deterministic scores. So a quick roundup on key takeaways from this use case is four things. One, agentic AI can be deployed safely in regulated financial systems when governance is built from the start, not just you build a tool and then at the end you want to have a governance layer. You need that overview from the beginning. Two, AI should augment, never replace. The investment committee always decides the investment decisions, whether to go in on a deal or pass over the deal or to get more due diligence done on a deal opportunity. And three, you can cut decision latency dramatically without compromising institutional grade rigor when implementing AI. And four, this isn't a concept, it's a live pilots across four geographies today. And we're also seeing how different markets approach AI, how US, Europe, and Middle East are different into embedding automated workflows and implementing AI into this. So there's much more we have to deploy for these productions as we are still only running in pilots, and we're learning a lot from how multi-jurisdictions, how the multiple regulatory authorities handle AI and data security in this part. And yeah, thank you very much for joining. This is how the organizations in family offices and private wealth are evaluating to bring AI into the investment workflows. And we're also having some pilots with deal flow, portfolio monitoring, risk, and governance. And if you're up for it, you can reach out to me by email or LinkedIn. And yeah, open for questions.
Thanks a lot, Sasi. So I was just asking myself the standard question as a startup, right? What are you looking for at the moment? How one can support you and the product idea? Just as a former startup founder myself, I think this is an important question where maybe someone else can help to bring that and to move it forward.
Yeah, we're welcoming more introductions to family offices who are tech forward, willing to try how, willing to see how AI can be implemented into their day-to-day workflows, not just in the deal flow part, but on the governance, manual workloads that they're dealing with, like quarterly financials of their portfolios, how to report on to the fund manager, PE funds, how to manage. We have an in-depth platform that we can welcome to more family offices. If anyone can introduce us to some of the family office network CIOs or CFOs, we'd be happy to connect and expand it to more clients there.
Okay, thank you. Then we have a question from Akin to Sasi. How do you handle the security? Is it a SaaS solution? Can it be deployed on-prem?
Great question. Yeah, it can be deployed in on-prem. We have this solution built in from our technical team based in San Francisco and Berlin. And yeah, it can be built in on-prem, deployed on your private server. And regarding the data security, we hold right now everything on the back end quite securely. And we also are in process of doing the compliances regarding SOC 2, ISO 27001, and approvals from FINMA in Switzerland and DIFC in Dubai. So we're in the process of getting this data security validation and certifications.
Thank you. And I think Robert wanted to add something about the central bank use case.
Yeah, so in case, because I think it was written down somewhere in the event intro, so the most recent use case where we basically implemented was for, well, not the German central bank, but a German central bank that functions as a central bank for several smaller banks. So this is basically the bank that also contracts the big credit deals, etc. And we implemented exactly with the patterns we heard here from Zazi or from me, with this mix between LLM, agentic AI, and deterministic workflow approaches. First, the monitoring of well, the credit health. So this is something similar also Zazi outlined here, but this was now for very large credit exposures for this bank. And the second one is basically for capital markets, where this bank receives trade confirmations for certain deals. And what's happening right now is that some poor intern has to match these incoming trade confirmations with existing trades. So there is some kind of OCR, but it's very unreliable. And we basically implemented there an LLM-based approach with computer vision. So part computer vision, part directly from PDF text, and have now a much higher automation rate. And so also here, AI and LLMs seem to be the better or more advanced approach as opposed to classic OCR if it comes to information extraction from these PDFs. Yeah, exactly. So if you have any questions in this regard, also feel free to ask. Yeah. Other than that, thank you for your attention.
Yeah, wonderful. I think there are no further. No, there's another question from Anna. Hi, Anna. Nice to see you again. Sasi, question for you. Did you consider introducing alignment with FINMA regulations for your Swiss clients?
Oh, great question. Absolutely. We spoke with the FINMA 6 group for the integrations and for their connecting to the Swiss banking and trading platform data through B-Link. And FINMA is our first compliance on our radar because we're actively piloting with the Swiss and we're also speaking with someone from Luxembourg and Liechtenstein as well. And yeah, we haven't done yet a formal FINMA regulatory mapping engaged in this compliance. That's the near-term priority for us. And they do also have a network of resources that we can leverage for us in this matter. And definitely for the compliance, human in the loop, and audit logging, we have to design a regulation around this and fully compliant with the FINMA and how we use AI. And there are some other fintech and AI companies that are also in the similar space, trying to get the FINMA approval on how we use and leverage AI. And we have to also justify that we don't send the data out of Switzerland, and all the Swiss financial data stays within Switzerland. This is one of the big challenges we're facing right now. We should not be using any of the financial data to go outside of the country, and also not to train any AI models based on the financial data of the Swiss clients. And yeah, if you have any experience or recommendations on FINMA advisory firms, I genuinely welcome that conversation.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah, please.
Well, first, I think it's really great that you're already making thoughts about the FINMA, and it's like at the start of your journey, basically. If you plan to extend like from the Swiss market, have you thought about other regulations? What are generally your thoughts about translation, like the regulations into the concrete measurable steps that you can have in your workflows?
Great question. Regarding the translation part, we did have the requirement when I was in Qatar last month, and there the stakeholder was asking the AI question in Arabic regarding an investment question. And he asked like, oh, can you make the entire platform in Arabic? Right now with the translation services, we can do it with the LLM or Gemini. But the key thing is that it's not, the translation is not highly benchmarked according to the metrics there. So we need a localized partner for each region. For Germany, we would need a German localization partner who has done something similar in the fintech space, because it's a highly regulated environment. We don't want to be held accountable for anything that AI says or does, because we have to be fully aware of like what AI is producing based on the user data. And regarding expanding our compliances, we are speaking with a few vendors in US and Europe regarding the GDPR compliance and EU AI Act that is coming into play by end of this August. And in Middle East, we have different ones, VARA, DIFC, ADGM, and in Qatar, we have the QFC, Qatar Financial Center that we spoke with. We need to get licenses, we need to get the regulatory compliances, we have to be doing all of the auditing for different regulatory bodies. And in the US, my co-founder is based in San Francisco, and he's handling the US part as well, SOC 2, ISO 270. I have a bunch of these numbers in my head, all these certifications and regulations we have to get through into having like a full production deployment at mass when we have to scale for different clients in different geographies. When someone comes from Germany or Austria or even from other parts like Spain, we have like, yeah, we have everything ready. And next day we can set up a license or an account for them. We want to get to there within the next 6 months.
Great,
Thank you. I think it's like, I'm very curious to follow your company's journey. How do you handle this multi-market situation?
Thank you very much. Absolutely. This multiple jurisdiction is the key thing, because even the Swiss family office, they have real estate holdings in Asia, Middle East, US, Europe, a lake house in Zurich, and some other house in south of Spain. So we have to handle multiple jurisdiction, and also they have funds in different assets and PE funds, health funds. So lots of complex. That's why we always do this 1 month pilot to fully understand what's their exposure is, what's their investments are, so we can build a custom solutions for them.
Okay, great. I'll have to jump in, Sasi, because we have to come to an end. Robert, there was a last question for you. If you have any productive clients in Switzerland, I'm sure you have, or you do. Can you maybe,
Yeah, so we actually, I'm not sure what the current status is, but we consulted Baloise for implementing an AI-driven software development process. So this was more on the software implementation side. We have a productive use case with Raiffeisen via the Pega low-code platform. And this is about like the anti-money laundering. So this is the use case where they also use actually more classic machine learning, but well, this is also AI, right? Not all AI is LLMs. So these are the two clients that come to my mind right now where we have a productive use case. Yeah.
Great, thanks a lot. So then it's 12:46. Thank you both. Thank you for joining the session and giving us an overview about your solutions and about AI in the finance sector. I think you will send the slides to the participants afterwards, right? That everybody can have a quick look on it. So I can invite you to our next aiLights session on March 13th about the potential of small language models. So I think it's a very hot topic. And if you are into hackathons, we will have a new series starting aiLights on April 9th, together with the founder of Testing Time, Reto Lemmler, the one and only UX expert, and we will invite the finalists of the Gen AI Zurich Hackathon to a session, and then you can have some then you can get some insights from the hackathon project. I think we just received 100 submissions so far for that hackathon. So thank you for joining today. Thank you both, and have a great afternoon. See you soon. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.